Here's the part about poetry that confuses almost everyone.
Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever looked at a really short poem and just wondered how a handful of lines can make you feel so incredibly much? Well, today we're basically going to treat poetry like a massive zip file. We are going to unpack the incredible economy of language that writers use to compress all this raw, complex human emotion into just a few tiny words. It's a seriously amazing process once you know what to look for, and I am super excited to be your guide as we decode the secrets of poetic devices together. To really dig into this, we're going to explicitly ground our analysis in the CSEC English syllabus. And I love this framework because it challenges us to do something really fascinating. It asks us to find the organic relationship between sound and sense. It's not just about what the words mean on a flat page, it's about how the writer physically crafts them to create this living, breathing experience for us. So here is our decoder ring for today. We're going to systematically unpack 1. The economy of language. 2. Beyond the literal dictionary. 3. Metaphors, similes, and meaning. 4. The architecture of sound. 5. Tracking tone and mood. And 6. Decoding complex poetry. Let's start right at the top. Section 1. The economy of language. Compressing maximum feeling into minimal words. Here's the thing about poets. They just don't have the luxury of endless pages to explain how a character is feeling, right? They don't have 5 chapters to build a whole world. Because of that, every single syllable has to work overtime. They act as the extraction software for our emotional zip file. The economy of language is this brilliant practice of using the absolute bare minimum number of words to convey a maximum amount of information and emotion. It is literally word precision at its absolute finest. Moving on to Section 2, Beyond the Literal Dictionary. Unzipping denotation and connotation. To actually crack that zip file open, we absolutely have to stop reading poetry like it's some sterile instruction manual. We have to start looking at the emotional baggage that words carry. Think about a phrase like denied the air when talking about birds. We have 2 ways to read this. The denotation, the literal dictionary meaning, is just that they're refused something. Kind of falls flat, doesn't it? But the connotation, that implied feeling, reveals this devastating, tragic loss of freedom. It suggests the birds have been stripped of their very physical ability to fly. The poet didn't need a massive paragraph to explain captivity. They just used 3 perfectly chosen words. To really master this, the syllabus recommends what's called a think aloud strategy. When you're reading, you should actively interrogate the text. Ask yourself, why did the poet choose this specific word instead of a simpler one? Why use denied instead of kept from? When you monitor your own understanding by asking these kinds of questions after every single stanza, the hidden meanings just start jumping out at you. Let's apply that question to a quote like, teeth like a snake's bare fangs. A whole new layer reveals itself here. A smile is usually endearing, right? Actually, scratch that. In this context, by comparing bared teeth to a snake's fangs, the author instantly signals hidden danger. It brilliantly exposes the hypocrisy of adults who fake this conforming smile that actually masks something incredibly venomous and insincere. That brings us to Section 3, Metaphors, Similes, and Meaning, building deeper themes beyond literal definitions. Devices like metaphor, simile, symbolism, personification, irony, and hyperbole, these are the poet's heavy machinery. They allow the writer to create profound secondary levels of meaning that a strictly literal reading would completely miss. They condense massive abstract ideas into short, striking visual comparisons. For instance, look at this simile from the poem My Parents in the Caribbean literature syllabus, comparing hurtful words to stones. Words, like stones, instantly bypasses your logic. You don't just understand that the child was insulted, you actually feel the heavy, blunt force emotional trauma that child is experiencing. The poet takes a physical object, a stone, and uses it to make an invisible emotional wound feel incredibly real. And looking at another amazing piece, Little Boy Crying. This metaphor is just stunning. Laughter metamorphosed into howls. It compresses a sudden, terrifying emotional shift into just 4 words. It takes the innocent, pure happiness of a child's laughter and contrasts it instantly with this animal-like wailing. We can vividly see and hear the victim's pain and the sheer suddenness of the punishment, all through one compact metaphor. Now for Section 4. The architecture of sound, forging the organic relationship between sound and sense. Poetry isn't just about what words mean visually. It is heavily reliant on how those words physically sound when spoken aloud. Auditory impact devices like alliteration, rhyme, rhythm, onomatopoeia, and assonance establish a beat. For example, in Caribbean poetry, a writer might use harsh, repetitive consonant sounds and really tight rhyme patterns to mimic the striking of a drum or the rhythm of ocean waves. They are deliberately manipulating your reading pace, using these patterns to match the emotional intensity of the scene. It's like they're scoring a soundtrack right inside your mind.
The absolutely crucial point here is that techniques like alliteration, the repetition of consonant sounds, they aren't just decorative fluff. They are highly functional. They literally force your brain to slow down, they add emphasis to specific ideas, and they make you feel the rhythmic pulse of the author's message. They demand your attention through sound.
Section 5. Tracking tone and mood. Visualizing atmospheric shifts. Let's see how all these devices work together to build the broader structure of a poem. By tracking the diction, tone, and mood stanza by stanza, you can actually visualize the emotional transformation of the text. You might see a poem start out with feelings of wonder and awe in stanza 1, and then you visually track how the diction shifts to create isolation and fear in stanza 2. It's a seriously powerful way to map the writer's craft. And finally, Section 6. Decoding poetry. A strategic approach for the syllabus. Let's take all of these abstract concepts and turn them into an actual actionable workflow for analyzing any literary passage you come across. By following these 4 steps, you can effectively unzip any poem. Step 1, always separate the literal dictionary meaning from the emotional association. Step 2, read between the lines by asking why the author chose a specific word over a simpler one. Step 3, use the context clues around that phrase to find the author's true motive. And step 4, evaluate the writer's craft by looking at how sound, metaphor, and tone all work together. This is your ultimate toolkit for grasping the rich, complex truths the writer actually intended. So, the next time you read a poem, or honestly even just listen to a friend speak, I want you to remember this explainer. Ask yourself, what is the connotation trying to tell me that the dictionary left out? If every conversation is a compressed zip file of human emotion, what hidden meanings are you just scrolling past every single day? Use your decoder ring. Pay attention to the sound, the rhythm, and the subtle comparisons, and I promise you'll uncover a whole new depth to the world around you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep decoding.
As always, the link for this study tool is in the description below. Let me know what you think in the comments.